Let's bring in the Union Secretary, the Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, who's also a nominated Member of Parliament. Wilson Sossion joins us on the line now. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome to the Situation Room and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
Now, Bwana Sossion, you've been quoted in various media having spoken about this issue that was raised by the CS for Education, Professor Magoha, on one, the cause for the unrest in schools, and what he was saying. I mean, one of the solutions that he was just talking about, thinking off the top of his head, was maybe we should reintroduce corporal punishment. And you've been quoted saying, no. That one is an absolute no. Is this quote attributed to you true?
I've not been quoted. I have said it in before media and in a general meeting. The fact of the matter is there was sufficient reason to eliminate corporal punishment in our school system in line with the global commitments, and now we have the Children's Act 2011, which really prohibits caning. And over time, circumstances and situations have changed, and children are now more and more aware of their rights. And taking teachers back to cane learners, it really is not the best of things. We cannot do it at the moment when students are becoming violent. You can see they've perfected the art of arson, and they're banning only dormitories. They're not banning schools and classrooms. They're not banning dorms. They're not banning libraries. And after staying away for 10 months, a lot must have happened, and it is manifesting itself. Currently, you can see they're banning schools, and they're even killing. They've killed watchmen. I've just read also that a head student has been killed because he was able to report the strategies to ban dormitories. So really, reverting to using the cane or corporal punishment is the wrong thing to do, and as teachers, we are not going to go back there. And if the caning has to be reintroduced, then let the law enforcers do the caning. And because the errant students are engaged in super criminal activities of arson and killing, they should just be dealt with criminally. So really, for us, we don't think we'll accept to go back to the caning, because if teachers are allowed to cane the students, then these students will begin killing teachers. They definitely will, and I don't think that is a side to wait and enjoy
and witness.
And witness as a citizen, students killing teachers.
So,
that
would be
wrong.
so
They're not ready.
what in your reading and understanding is the cause of this student unrest?
Well, I don't have any empirical information on the real cause, but you can see what is happening over time. Using simple psychology, you can deduce exactly what the students are doing. They are banning dormitories. Why are they not banning classrooms? They are banning dormitories. There's something about the dormitories. Either they're not comfortable, they are congested, or they want to go home. And this has gone on for years. Banning of dormitories. If you hear banning of a school, it is dormitory. Something is being communicated to us that these students no longer desire to go through boarding education, boarding schools. And I think it is time as a country we accept that we don't need boarding schools anymore. It's time we abolish them so that the learners can have time to be at home, and there can be a balance of child raising by the household and the school. After 5, let all the children go back to their families and let parents, and we have seen in the last 10 months, Kenyans have failed in parenting at their family level. And then they cannot endure to keep children at home. And some Kenyan families or parents dump their children in boarding schools as early as grade 4, and so that they can while and have their free time. So I think it is something fundamental that needs in terms of reforms. And in fact, the reform that should have been undertaken is not CBC. We should have reconfigured our school system so that we phase out boarding schools, which number one is unnecessary, is expensive, we don't need it, and allow now learners to operate from their homes to schools, and we ensure that we have state-of-the-art day schools, so that then we can have the parents and teachers raising the children together, rather than forcing teachers to act as foster parents, like policemen at night in boarding schools, trying to discipline learners who are truants, and trying to take over responsibilities that are not theirs. Even as we talk of BBI and trying to rediscover the national values of this country, it cannot be if the family does not play a central role in upbringing of children at an early age. And according to me, Kenya should join the global north, Europe and North America, where day schools are the real thing, and there are no boarding schools, and learners
go home on a daily basis.
From home to school.
Wilson, I hear you, and I think there's a lot that can be discussed here, especially now when it comes to now the abolishing of boarding schools, as you've mentioned. But this caning came about as a result of some of the uprisings that we've seen coming from the student body, right? There's been misbehavior. The CS said this as how do you feel that those issues can be addressed apart from this?
No, we cannot
this
react
abolishing
emotionally.
of boarding schools.
We cannot react emotionally. We can't react emotionally. We must address a complex phenomenon of this nature in a very meticulous way, and inviting our skills of psychology and the necessary reforms that we need to put in place. For now, any child involved in arson should be criminalized. But we cannot be so emotional that we ask teachers to cane them. That is not a solution. We don't handle children using emotion. We handle children using systematic and meticulous reasoning and planning. And I've been asked what really would be the solution, and we need a lasting solution. I am not interested in the quick emotional first aid, but looking at the circumstances that are being returned from schools, that students are banning schools. I've just read in the social media right now, Iterio boys in Kisii dormitory was banned last night. A head student was killed for reporting. Now you can see this state, and it looks like it's taking a very complicated trajectory at the moment. It is time we reconsider. Probably we need to give.
Can I ask how widespread this mayhem is? I'm calling it mayhem because that's what it seems to be. How widespread is it across the country?
You are in the media and you are listening and you are seeing.
Actually, I do have an idea, and I'm saying it is not widespread. We have isolated cases of schools that we've had reports.
Whether it is widespread or not, there are reported cases, and that is why you called me, and that's why you are interviewing me, because there is a problem.
There is a problem, we accept, but the reason why I'm raising the question, if you could just pause for a second and listen to what I'm asking, Mr. Sossion.
And
it's this.
Fundamentally, if we look at what has been happening over time, say from 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, how many dormitories have been banned? How many? And what is the cost in terms of billions? This latest behavior by students, and I want you to invite your patients, psychology, attention, and carry your mind. Look at that watchman that has been killed by students. Look at those teachers who have been brutally assaulted by teachers. Look at that head student who was killed by students. And you can see the art of killing is now coming after arson of schools. So it is a very, very serious affair. Even if one dormitory is banned, in the country, it is burning. If one student is killed, it is killing. So, and a message is being communicated. We are in Kenya.
Yeah, we should listen to it.
We live with them. And therefore, from the educational perspective, which indeed you have asked me about the solution, let us reconfigure our education system so that in the long run, because we're even talking in the BBI, we want to rediscover the values, national values of this country. We cannot do it when you are taking children out of family and out of household and dumping them in boarding schools.
This is Kenya's biggest conversation, broadcasting on KTN Home, on Spice FM and online. Joining us on the line is Member of the National Assembly and Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, Wilson Sossion. In the room is Eric Latif, Nduoko, and C.T. Muga.
Mr. Sossion, from the time we got our independence, we've had very many commissions on education. And what they've done is look into the education sector and made proposals as to the steps that should be taken. Here we are with a new situation that we've never seen before. As you say correctly, dormitories being burnt, children being violent to the point where, apart from attacking teachers, we hear reports of people having been killed. And even in the recent past, we've had bodies that have taken the time to actually study the education system and made recommendations. Now, the question I want to ask now is, the recommendations that were made, were they all put into play? Were they applied? The situations that were pointed out that ailed the education sector, were they rectified?
The problem we have is that in the global world and the evolving world of business, in recent times, education has been identified as the frontier of business worth trillions of dollars. And therefore, most of the policies that are coming to education are business-oriented and are meant to support business ventures. And therefore, there has been no commitment by many governments to take into consideration serious professional advice from commissions, and in fact, commissions are beginning to lose value in this era where education is seen as a very, very serious frontier of business. Of course, you talk of what you've done in Kenya in terms of commission since independence, or Minde of 1964, which came up with the new education system for the independent Kenya, and the 7423, and which indeed, in terms of quality, remains one of the best that Kenya has ever had. And the Gashati of 76 that looked at mainly the teacher training and addressing the teacher needs of this country. Mackay of 1981 that came up with 844, and 844 was properly piloted professionally, and universities were active in research and looking at the new education system before it was rolled out. And 844 was rolled out after proper piloting for 4 years. And Kamunga of 1988, look at that broadcast sharing.
86 actually.
Yes, and Ticket of David Koech of 1989, in fact, the best commission that ever sat, and that gave the best recommendation. In fact, those who study in universities, the best reference report is that of David Koech of 1989. Douglas Odhiambo of 2012, which was oversight by a lot of ambition on how to cause artificial change in our education system. And I remember we voted it 55 to 25 at KICD. And thereafter we have seen several flagship reforms in the education, like the laptop, which was emotionally brought as a manifesto of Jubilee in 2013 from nowhere, without consultation from the sector. It has become a white elephant, a mystery, a shame in the sector that it has not been properly implemented. We have seen the CBC, when teachers question the quality of training, they were interdicted because there are a lot of intrinsic businesses in all this. And we have seen the promotion of privatization in education, and you see privatization goes with boarding. There cannot be business unless unless the private schools or entities are boarding in nature, and so we are seeing a lot, and these are the biggest obstacles and challenges. However much we come up with the best recommendations, the ability, capacity, the spirit and commitment of government to implement is very negligible. Because
So where did we go wrong, sir? Because if I look at the trajectory and all the plans that we've had,
education as business, we are not looking at education.
If I leave the business aspect of it, just for a while, just pause the business aspect of it for a while, sir, and consider schools didn't start getting burnt in large numbers yesterday. This has been progressive. The problems we've had in school, it's been progressive. What attempts have we seen being made to stem this thing before it got to this place now where it's now a downpour? It's no longer just a drizzle.
Let me return the question to you.
Please.
When students started banning schools in 2015 and we raised a lot of alarm.
Beyond alarms, what else did you do?
Was it ever addressed? It has never been addressed.
A task force was formed in 2016, wasn't it?
The march we saw was public relations and massaging programs and keeping students a bit busy, then sit for national exams, forget about the year, move into another year. To get back to the same, the problem that is bedeviling the sector has not been addressed as a major issue. I remember in 1998, when banning of schools started, there was a national conference at KNUT University that took that it brought the churches, it brought different stakeholders to openly debate. Education is a public good, and therefore it is an entity that whenever there are extraordinary issues, we should be able to open up to the public and at least see whether we can have a national conference on the same where we discuss and debate very exhaustively. Nowadays, we see national conferences of education takes 1 hour. It begins at 1 p.m. and ends at 2 p.m.
Yep.
And we tell Kenyans that we've had a national conference. You are in Kenya, we have seen it. You, the media, you have been beaming it. You beam it for 1 hour and it's a national conference. I think we have refused to openly and extensively debate the issues that are in the education sector. And right now we are only discussing a segment and we are discussing an instance of action. But we need to look through education from early childhood all through to university.
But as I hear you, Sossion,
are shutting down. Universities are shutting down.
True. And you're pinning this down. You're pinning this down, Sossion, on majorly the fact that there is a lot of commercial interest that has infiltrated government decision making, and that is what is influencing the kind of decisions that are made at government level, at policy level. How do you reverse this? How do you, for example, as one of the leaders in this sector, Secretary General of the Union, you sit in the National Assembly, you've got a lot of influence.
It is all of us to speak about it. You've invited me to this show. You've given me a forum. I've said it. And I've said it everywhere. And until and unless we come out to openly debate and allow professionals to take center stage, let me ask you one simple question. If we are talking about review of curriculum in this country and globally, there's a professional sequence of doing it. This is the moment that the universities should be doing a lot of research, releasing papers, designing training modules, and it is not happening. Universities are shut out. How would you talk of reforming education without even involving the universities very deeply, vigorously, extensively, and competently? There are a lot of issues. We are not doing things right in this country. And when you see learners waking up to ban domestic, and the other day, when COVID struck this country, we suddenly realized that we have over-congested our learners in our schools, kama magunia, in the name of access, 100% transition, and everything. The infrastructure is not ready. Probably even in some dormitories there are triple deckers, and you're putting learners in triple deckers, congesting them like gunias in dingy dormitories. Maybe that's why they're burning. The question is, where these students are sleeping, are they comfortable? Are they? Why are they burning?
So the stakeholders in education, Mr. Sossion, the stakeholders in education are educationists, and teachers are part and parcel of this. Does this not bode negatively on the leadership of the teachers, such as yourself, in the situation getting where it is? How has this happened with not being so vigorous and vibrant?
No, my friend, look here. Call a spade a spade. The reason why we are going wrong is because we are refusing to speak the truth. We have a serious matter here at hand.
And what is the truth, Mr. Sossion?
I've given you a scientific fact. From COVID-19 and COVID experience, we have realized that we have congested our schools.
That's true.
And even to achieve social distance has been difficult. One of the areas of congestion is dormitories, and that one you should accept it, even as media.
So the children should not have gone back to school in that condition.
Pardon?
Are you saying children should not have gone back to school in that condition?
With?
Are you saying children should not have gone back to school in that condition of crowded dormitories, for example, if this realization only came about because of COVID-19?
When Rwanda was able to build 22,000 classrooms between March and October, if we sit as a country and consider that one area that is likely to pose a lot of challenges are dormitories, and if dormitories were going to be a challenge, was it ever addressed? Did we consider?
But you were the one. You were one of the people, Mr. Sossion, who said that we were ready to go back to school at the time schools were opening. You said it not once. You said it several times that we are ready to go back, and now that has changed.
Can we have a proper trajectory in this discussion? We are pointing out that this could be one of the problems. It was not addressed, and that's the truth. It was not addressed. Don't ask me why I did not deal with it, because I'm part of the sector. I am not the Minister for Education, and I don't have leadership position on behalf of government.
It is true you're a leader, and the things you say are leadership statements. That's how they're taken.
Pardon?
I said, when you make statements, we take them as leadership statements that are being made.
Make them over and over again. There are a lot of things that we need to look at to make our children comfortable and to make our education system work and to reconfigure it to serve the best interests of children and the best interests of the country.
Mr. Sossion, we're actually just seeking clarity in these matters. That's why we're asking the questions. The idea is not to necessarily put you in a tight corner. We just want to know, because...
No, you're not putting me at a tight corner. You're asking genuine questions, and I think I've answered you. And the fundamental truth is we are in the year 2021, and we've experienced various challenges in education over time. It is time we face them squarely. One of them is the management of children and the type of our school system that we have, the boarding system. That is, in fact, if you do a survey among all the children who are in boarding, whether they would like to study from home or be in school, you will be surprised that we are wasting time over 50 years after independence, doing unnecessary things and keeping children in boarding when they can as well commute from home. And indeed, if we are talking about drug abuse and all this substance abuse and all of it, then this is where we need a parent. Let this kid between 5 in the evening and 8 in the morning spend that time with parents. The rest of the time is for teachers to conduct their teaching, learning, and other forms of learning between 8 and 5. If we accept to go that direction, in the long run, we will be raising our children in the right manner, and we'll be equipping this country with the right education.
Mr. Sossion, in your opinion, is the training of our teachers adequate? Training and remuneration of our teachers, is it adequate for the tasks that they are required of, that is required of them?
Don't be reckless and careless that you think teachers must be trained to be parents. We are not trained to be parents. We are
Sir,
trained
it
to
isn't
be
being reckless.
pedagogues.
The
Yeah,
moment you take
we
a
are
child
trained
to
to be
school, you
pedagogues.
have given that teacher the mandate of
We
acting
are
like a parent, whether
trained-
you like it or not. It's just a
We
fact.
are trained to be pedagogues, but I think we have gone beyond to play the role of parents, because we do most of the work which parents indeed should have done. I would say the training of Kenyan teachers is one of the best, and Kenyan teachers have returned the best outcomes in education. If you look at the global competitive index of Kenya in terms of quality education, we are number one in Africa, and in access. That tells you the Kenyan teachers have done very well in terms of delivering teaching. And you look at the global teacher competition, the global teacher of the year is from Kenya. African Union teacher of the year for 2 consecutive years are from Kenya. That tells that we have the best teachers. But
No,
let
those
us
are
not
individual
forget-
efforts that have stood
but
out.
let-
Are
but let-
teachers
let-
recompensed
let-
adequately
let-
for the tasks as
let-
well as their training?
let-
I'm asking the question
let
again,
us
Mr.
not
Sossion.
Let us not convert our teachers to play parental roles so that parents can have time.
Mr. Sossion, I don't understand. You cannot take your child to school and have somebody oversee their work and then say they don't have a parental role. How is that
cannot
possible?
Take your child to school and have the teacher parenting into the night, and every night, daytime, every day. No. The work of the teacher is to teach. And I think we must strike a balance.
Teachers are not well compensated, Mr.
But
Sossion.
look
If
at-
they were well compensated, your union wouldn't push for
Look at
all
my-
these pay increases that you're constantly pushing for.
The union would not, the teachers would not be threatening to go on strike in a fresh pay row as they're doing today.
I think he hasn't answered. But Sossion, there's a separate question here, and this is now beyond the role of teachers either being as parents or not. There's the other question, the part B of this question, about teacher remuneration. Do you think teachers are adequately recompensed to be able to perform their job happily?
Now, before I get down to that, because I think you're introducing another dimension that probably is out of context.
It's actually the same dimension because without teachers, there is no one to teach in schools. They are a composite part of the education problem and issue.
Let's hear you, Sossion.
A structured engagement. Let's have a structured engagement. The other issue of the balance. What is the role of parents in raising children in our school system? What really is the role of parents? That's a big question that all of us must ask. In fact, those of us who have been teachers have ended up parenting children, stepping in to play the role of the parents. There must be a balance. That's the truth. So that teachers, we do not have exaggerated expectations of teachers doing teaching and learning and going beyond to step into the shoes of the parents. Number two, you've asked about remuneration. The teachers of Kenya, I think at the moment they are fairly remunerated, and from the balance of engagement between us and government, we have been able to push and put in place the framework for their remuneration, for their negotiations, and those engagements are ongoing. And I don't think this has any bearing in terms of what is happening at the moment. And what we are insisting is that the load of teachers working at night, supervising children at night, doing procurement, and doing jobs that probably are not their core mandate as teachers is something that must be offloaded at the moment. And we must fight that for them.
Okay, Wilson, you've talked about the fact that, we need to look at certain things, right? And do you think that it requires, and you say the system needs to be changed, who is part of this system? Who makes up this system that needs to now give attention to change within the education system to change? Who is involved here?
All of us. All of us. Education does not belong to government. It doesn't belong to the minister alone. It belongs to all of us. For example, we are in this debate, in this talk show. This talk show is not a government program. It is a media program. Kenyans are listening. We are all participating. We are all triggering debate. We are all introducing new things. And we are subjecting them to debate. Those are our own opinions. And somebody somewhere must collect all these and there must be an open dialogue process with the government so that we follow out necessary and needed reforms as it unfolds. So the responsibility of facilitating this change rests with the government of the Republic of Kenya, which is created by the Constitution.
Thank you very much. Wilson Sossion, thank you very much for speaking to us today. Wilson is a Member of Parliament and the Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Teachers. We'll be speaking with you again in coming days to advance this conversation further, especially on this one of abolition of boarding schools. I think this is an interesting debate. Asante sana for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Asante.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.